Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 550, and today we'll be playing the Pyromancer and Backpack Battles. And so let's go ahead, dive on in. I've had some good successes with the Pyromancer. We're moving on up the ranks. We'll see if we can't get a good set of battles in today. And so, interesting set. A lot of big build around stuff right at the beginning towards the Falcon Blade, right? We have the whetstone. You get the double whetstone, the double gloves of haste onto the wooden sword. You get the Falcon Blade. Very powerful weapon. It's something I really enjoy coming in and building towards. Otherwise, all of these items just look really good. I love picking up daggers. They're very free in terms of the Pyromancer, and they upgrade extremely well with these with the flames, and so I'm interested in it. The walrus tusk, not quite as interested in, but it is on sale out here, and I do think that thorns is pretty good in the early game, so there is that. And the same thing applies to the healing herbs. Just another very strong early game item, and so I think we could just outright buy all this, right? 4, 8, 10, 12. We got to leave something behind. Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad, walrus tusk. You were the one that's not going to make the cut today. So let's get the dagger. Let's get the gloves. So the big question that we'll have with this item selection that we've made is whether or not we want to just go ahead and spend the flames to upgrade the dagger, right? We can turn the dagger into the molten dagger at this point, and it's kind of tough in the sense that, we can pretty safely keep this dagger for the remainder of the game. It's a 0 stamina attack thing. The flaming dagger does come in and generate flames on its own, and so it's kind of interesting there, but we lose a lot of our kind of backpack stacking thing, right? To where we get the additional health off of the backpack itself. And so if we start to take those flame things away, it's going to weaken the strength of something kind of like a reincarnate comp, if that's what we want to try and build toward. But I'm still interested in how this goes, so let's just YOLO it, right? Let's go ahead and slap this molten dagger down right at the beginning. Get these upgrades going as well. It's like I got to figure out how to get the molten dagger and the hero sword going at the same time. That looks good. I don't think, well, we can do both, right? No. I'm gonna say we can, I want to get the gloves of haste in the middle as well, but that's not exactly how that mathematic works. And so let's dive on in. I bet we crush. I'm calling my shot. We're gonna crush right from the start. At least the first battle. Seems fine. Opponent should be running out of stamina here pretty quick. I don't think they're going to be able to out damage our healing once their stamina runs out. They were unable to. Nice try though. I applaud your efforts. And let's move on. And so, how do we want to proceed? There is the pan turning up. Not super interested in the pan. I'm not the biggest fan of the food builds, the chili builds coming out of the Pyromancer. They're not bad, but it's not something that I particularly enjoy. But this is kind of pointing to that. I think if this was in, draft round 1, we would actually be very interested in picking up the pan, but as we've already kind of moved forward with this molten dagger and halfway to a falcon blade, I think that we're going to be looking towards more of like a weapony type attack strategy here, and that's just not where the pan really sticks to me. Otherwise, these items not super interested in. Let's take a roll, see what turns up. Definitely glad to pick up the bag. I do like the spears with the Pyromancer, but this is one of the spots to where it gets a touch awkward in the sense that, if we're wanting to turn the spears into molten spears and we've already thrown away 2 of our flames, but it is a potential build around kind of thing here as well. If you want to especially, say, take the molten spear and then drive it up towards the sun armor, then you want to have all of those little flames around, but we've been doing hard work to just get rid of our flames. And so it's kind of a tough decision-making point there. I think that we're getting, kind of too far away from the land of usefulness that would be the spear, right? It just, like, I plan on taking the wooden sword towards the falcon blade, but if we want to take it to the burning sword, then we're just got to be missing out. And so let's just get away from that nonsense. Get right away from it. So up here, it looks like our molten dagger does more damage per second than the wooden sword, so I'll put the whetstone, or I'll put it up in the fanny pack. Probably just want to go ahead and and put these gloves on it as well. So that looks good. Let's pick up the stone. I don't really want the garlic or the other wooden sword, so let's just move on from here. Alright. The battles begin. So I think this is getting us in the spot to where, you know, we're just going to be carrying these weapons into the mid game, and then probably look to build towards dragons. Like, that's what strikes me as being strong with this kind of build, right? If you're wanting to kind of build towards a subclass item, right? That's what we typically think of in terms of build arounds. We lose out on a lot of the value of these things, right? Friendly fire doesn't work great if we're throwing away our flames. The burning banner, the holy one, doesn't work great if we're throwing away our flames. The dark lantern, while not particularly affected by losing out on the flames, it is negatively impacted by losing out on all of the bonus health we would get from the flames. And so that leaves us in the spot to where, you know, it's really just kind of like Frozen Flame or Dragon Nest. And I'm not the hugest fan of the Frozen Flame. It's just one of these items to where you get it halfway through the game, but then you're not really guaranteed to even pick up any frozen items. And so it really just kind of pushes me over towards the Dragon Nest is what we're going to be doing here. But we'll see if the game, you know, pieces itself together that way or not. But as far as these items go, fine to pick up the piggy bank, fine to pick up the singular copy of Flame. Otherwise, don't want Broom. We're not going to use Box of Riches. Healing Herbs is too expensive. And then a very strong bag here as well, or a very strong shop. We've got the leather bag, which will let us just, you know, continue out with these spots. There is the whetstone up here as well to turn our wooden sword into the hero sword. Definitely interested in picking that one up. And so we're going to have to sell the stone to afford it. Ooh, that's not how that math works. I guess we'll have to sell the healing herbs as well. Maybe we should have looked to reroll here, but I think that's going to be okay. And now let's get the pig in here as well. Okay, so the question for us is, I do want to pick up this lump of coal, but what are we going to do with it, right? Well, I guess there's not a huge decision here. You have the option to put the coal into the sword to make the torch, but I think we're okay with just making it a burning coal. Then we'll put the burning coal over into the molten dagger and move on from there. If we didn't have the second whetstone, it would be a kind of decision to make, but upgrading to our hero sword and almost being at the falcon blade leaves me pretty happy with just turning it into the socketed weapon. Okay. Tearing through this early game feels good. So we got our burning sword. We can put the burning coal onto the molten dagger. Again, it's going to be the one just attacking faster over and over and over again. Try and get the most activations out of this on-hit effect as we can. So that looks good. In the shop, not super interested in any of this stuff. I'm not opposed to the health potions, but the Dragon's comp tends to be pretty bursty, and the battles don't really last that long. But I could definitely see us in a spot to where we have like 2 health potions and 2 yellow potions, and we just have a little bit of combat focus to our build. Let's just pick up the 1. There's not a ton of like armor stuff we're really going to be looking for out here, so maybe it'll be okay. All right, so just 1. I don't want the actual burning sword, right? I'm going to go ahead and lock it. I want to pick up the falcon blade. Now we can get a little bit more usage out of the pig here. Let me move it over 1 more. There we go. I think that's good. We don't need the hero sword within the thing. Here we go. That's a little better, I guess. There we go. Now we got the 4 activations on the pig. Okay. I assure you, that's even better. You have been assured that's the way it's going to go. What's this guy doing? He hasn't completely ramped up. Odd seeing the flute in with the berserkers. They don't get a ton of usage out of the extra, or they don't have any 1 hex items to really amp it up, but still enough to get the takedown. Beating up on old Bust. It's not a very nice thing to be doing. What do we got here? We got a flame, looks good. A lot of food build stuff within this shop. That's going to be a fairly easy reroll. Now we got the makings of the fanny pack, and we got ourselves another decision here in that I'm typically not a huge fan of building up to crossblades, right? It's just a very big investment getting 2 copies of the hero sword, then turning the 1 hero sword into the falcon blade. That's about where we're at right now, but we are seeing the makings of the remainder of that build turn up here to where we have both a whetstone and a wooden sword. And I'm kind of interested in seeing how that goes, because at least within the pyromancer class, we have this kind of backdoor into saying, well, I'm not going to go for the crossblades, but I can just stick with a falcon longsword and a burning sword, and then still have some very good melee weapons out there up and running. And so that's what I'm kind of leaning towards doing here, is picking up the whetstone, picking up the sword that's on sale, and then we have that option to just not go full power. But the other kind of interesting thing here is there is a mana orb, and I'm not opposed to just say using a falcon blade, a mana orb, and then however many daggers we can find, right? You can come in and still just build up to things like Staff of Fire that are pretty strong combat oriented items, and fits in that way. If we're going to be building towards the dragon nest, you do just get this incidental mana out of the start of battle activation, and so it's kind of easy to get the mana shots out of it without making a particularly huge investment. And so it's tough. I'm not entirely certain which is the best option here. I kind of like going for the swords and the whetstone, just because we can sell this stuff, right? If we find ourselves in the spot to where we don't want to build towards the burning sword, or we can't find any more whetstones or whatever, then we still have some opportunity to kind of pivot out of this comp. All right, I think that looks reasonable. We'll need to get this gloves of haste out of the main bag before long, but it's still stacked up with the most the most flames that we can have in there. Seems reasonable. You know, I'm not certain if it's not better to just do this. We still get maximum. This is probably equal, right? This is even, but here's what we can do. We lose out on 1 flame this way. Now we can, hang on, I'm getting there. We have this rando bag stuff just sitting in weird spots. And so let me see if we can't make this a little better. Now, if we do something like this, we still get to keep the flame item in the middle. Get maximum ups on the pig. All right, that seems better, right? We got all of our weapons within the bags for the 10% attack. We've gotten the maximum flame stuff at the bottom. Still got our gloves of haste pointed at the dagger. Cool. Good job, Bust. You did it. That's what everybody's saying at home. If you're at work right now, feel free to yell it out, you know. I'm sure that's what your workmates are loving to hear. Just some fucking nerd in the corner yelling out, "Good job, Bust." Hopefully you work in the service industry. That's where things go really well. It's out there working at Barnes and Noble or Nordstrom or whatever. All the customers looking at you weird. Probably all over the age of 70 since no one shops in physical stores anymore. I got you. Get that paycheck though. Alright, so let's see what we can do. We're taking our whetstone, found another dagger, glad to snatch that up. Don't want the hungry blade. I don't think we're going to build towards ice stuff, so I think that's fine. There is a heroic potion. I'm always happy to snatch these up. I think that we're going to... I didn't watch our stamina usage in the previous one, but we should be running out, right? Our stamina is currently draining a little bit, and so at least 1 won't hurt. Let's see. Let's start getting these dagger upgrades. No, it's going to take me another half hour to figure this out. I didn't want to just move the gloves of haste, but that's probably the way to go about it. something like this. The whetstone's looking like it's in pretty bad shape out here. Fine. We only got one slot left. I think that's okay. Does this ever get any better? Probably fine. Everything's still touching the hero sword, which is the big thing to me. Let's rearrange this bag up top. Okay. Now, thing to note, there was the draconic orb in there, and there was a hammer. I think that's probably just taking it too far, right? The draconic orb does work with the dragon's build to make the obsidian drakes, and then the hammer we have double dagger for at this point, but that just feels to me like we're getting in the realm of just half-assing stuff instead of trying to whole-ass one thing, and so I kind of want to stay away from that. Now, there is interesting stuff with the flute coming up. We shit on the Berserker earlier for taking it, since it doesn't really work well with them, but it does work fine with us, right? The idea being is we can take the flute, put it in front of our bag that has all of the flames in it, and then just pick up, at a bare minimum, 6 pips on the item. It also gets a little bit of bonus value out of the flames, but one of the things we start to run into with this comp if we're going to build towards dragons is they take up a fuckload of space, right? If you have the blanket, which is a 4x4, and then you have 4 dragons wrapped around it with the easy equip, right? That's a total of 20 total hexes, and it gets to be a little bit challenging to make the space to have your bag of flames, make the space for the flute, and then also make the space for all of the dragons. And so I kind of like the idea of it, but I just don't think it's going to work with what we're doing here. So I'm going to do this. We'll pick up the bag for certain, then we'll just roll it away before we think any any worse, any different. Okay, there we go. That's the gloves we need turning up. Definitely want to snatch it up. Kind of interested in the health potion as well. We're not going to have the space for all of this, I don't think. Might need to come in and sell the pig. Let's go ahead and get this stack going. Quick little rearrange. I'll try not to make this take all day. Right, there's the falcon blade. Oh, we got to turn off the. We can equip it, or we can unleash the beast now, if you will. Unleash the beast. I forget, was it a Mountain Dew saying? A Mountain Dew from the 90s? I'm not certain how many people are gonna remember that one. Alright, we did start to run out of space. I guess we could sell the pig, but we've been kind of crushing through these rounds. Let's just be a little bit greedy here. We'll keep the pig for a little bit longer. We'll keep the health potion in the bag. I know we can't fit it in, right? We just have 1 hex unless we sell something. I guess we could take out a flame and a whetstone or something to get that going, but that doesn't sound too appealing to me. I think I am okay with this part, though. We lose out on 1 flame, but we get the better whetstone. Maybe not. Alright. Lock it in. Lock it and load it. This is some kind of reaper doing thorn stuff. All these thorns turning up. We've been out here going very dagger heavy. I don't want to see people playing thorns. It's at least not as bad when we're not hammering, right? You get 1 hammer stun in, and then you just strike with 4 daggers and just take an ass load of thorns damage. But I guess he only had like the thorn blade, and so it wasn't as scary. But all right, and so yeah, the intent was to just build the dragon's nest. It's not too unreasonable at this point to not have found any dragon eggs. It's not that big of a deal. Again, like I'm definitely not going Crusader. We don't have enough flames to help that pop off. We could still go to Ashbringer. I'm not the hugest fan of it. We aren't really well assembled to be going towards the reincarnate stuff. When it comes to the reincarnate comp, I like to have the vampirism to go with it. And we're just nowhere near doing anything like that. We've been passing on all of the leather armors. I just assumed we wouldn't be able to Ashbringer, and I kind of skipped over it. Maybe that was the oversight of the run up to this point, but the Firebender, as I see, I could kind of maybe see us landing on the Firebender as a way to kind of work here, but the Scale Warden's just where I think our comp lies. Just we don't have a ton going on build around wise, and it just should help. We've done the stuff with the daggers that carried us here, and then this should be what carries us on to the later portions of the game. So I think that's fine. I don't really want armors. I think we can let that go. Just we're not going to have the flames to support this kind of thing, right? If we're not maintaining these flames in the bag, I think we just have to let that go. Oh shit! Ooh, shit! There's a dragon egg right at the top. I almost completely overlooked that thing. So let's see where we can start to get with this. We need to definitely open up a bit more bag space. Let's just run everything back out. Kind of start up here in the middle. One of the kind of neato things we can do with this space is, say, like load up the dragon in the double bag. We'll have to move it for now, but then we can also put the Falcon Blade around it to get the attacks there a little bit quicker. So we'll look towards that in a minute. Not happening at this exact moment. Get those out of the way. Need more bags. Need more bags real bad. This is why I didn't want to go for things like the flute. You just run out of space so quick. Okay, so we'll get the dragon egg to hatch next turn. I think this is the kind of space we'll at least be for now. We're kind of stuck needing to put the daggers into the flame bag. Maybe we take it this way. Now I do want to get the flames in here. The Falcon Blade. I wanted to get next to the daggers. Here we go with that. Then what's left? Guess we can bring in the whetstone. We'll end up just selling the pig. I'm just gonna do this. Oh, hang on. We can make this work. I was like, I don't want to just sit around and rearrange everything again to make these potions work. But we got that space lined up now. That's looking a little bit better. Okay, I'm happy enough with this. Our stamina's kind of overdone at this point, but we just got to get some bags and we can start to work that back in. So we're kind of weak this round, right? This is one of the downsides to the dragon comp is it takes a little bit of time to actually come in and ramp up. You get these things that take up 4 hexes within your bag and just don't do anything for a turn. And so it's a bit of a struggle there, but we did manage to win the round still. Very food-heavy berserker with no cheeses, and so we got a little bit lucky in the opponent that we had turn up. Now we can start we can start doing battle with the dragons. So let's see, though. Again, I don't want the leather armor. Just takes up too much space. Don't need the gloves of haste anymore. I mean, realistically, we'll end up just selling the wooden sword whetstone, or at least, well, I guess hopefully we'll pick up another item that'll work with that, but let's see. So do we want the dagger? We're kind of far away from just finding more dragons, right? We can't afford them even if they turn up, so maybe the dagger is okay. Do something like this just to get our stamina ramping up. I think that has to be okay. I would prefer like the weapons over where our potions are. You just get the extra value out of the Falcon Blade. But we also need the dagger to level up. Okay, let's just keep it as is. A little sloppy, but I don't think it'll hurt too much. Blasting. Okay, okay. So what do we got? More potions? I don't feel like we need a ton of them. Maybe it is okay to pick up the... It took us a while to actually burn down and use the heroic potion, but we did end up spending it in that round. But I think we probably just want to roll and look for dragon eggs more than anything. Got this. Phoenix is fine, but again, I like it in the reincarnate comps. We're just never gonna find any of the healing stuff. I mean, I guess we do have a big stack of potions to where it could work. It takes up so much space. It's not a dragon. Ugh. On sale though. It's like if we pick it up, what are we gonna do with it? Like I guess we could drop it somewhere like up here for the moment. God, we just need bags and dragons. Let's get that in our head. So the things that we're gonna look for, right? I'm not gonna pick up any more potions until it seems like apparent that we really need them. I'm just gonna pick up bags and dragons. The other kind of caveat to that is whetstones. I don't think at this stage it's reasonable to think that we're going to make a crossblades, but we can make a burning sword, and so we need to keep this stamina spend up. I think that's fine, and that gives us a little bit of direction in what we're looking for here. None of those fit the bill. Got another bag though. All right, let's just clean up a touch, just a hair. There's probably something a little better than this. The whetstone wooden sword aren't spectacular in this space. We got the triple daggers kind of lacking from that, but seems reasonable. Aight. Whew. It's the old Steel Goobert Ranger. Starting to crush, just blasting right through. Rip. Rip it up. Okay, so we can take the Draconic Orb here, right? I do like it. It's on sale. It's going to upgrade the Ruby Whelp. That one seems like a bit of a win. Again, don't need the gloves. More bags we're on board for. Nothing else in here is a dragon. Running out of money real quick. Not certain why. Like the orb was for. Where's all of our money going? Why are we so poor? I don't know, fam. I don't know the answer to that one. Don't think we're gonna get through this one. He hit his battle rage. He's still gaining health off of the cheeses. We're not cracking through his health whatsoever. Zinged us. He zinged us real good. Alright, what do we got? Finally another dragon turns up. It's been wild, right? We've taken every dragon that we've seen, and this is just the second one. Kind of a bummer. Let's see. Can we get this piggy bank up and running as well? I know what we're going to have to do. This is one of these spots where we're just going to have to... I knew we were going to have to, eventually rearrange everything. But we're in this spot to where we have this nice little space to where we can fit the dragon. To where it's going to get the bonus off of the... oh, it's just dragon attacks heal, right? The eggs just have to be close. No, it's the starred dragon attacks. Okay, I'm not losing my mind. And so we can come in something like this. So now the dragon gets both the nest and the falcon blade. On board with that. You can have a whetstone. That sounds fine. Don't have the hexes remaining to get the sword on board. Would we rather have the sword or the whetstone? Maybe we would rather have the sword. What's this do? Starred weapons gain 1 damage. And this thing attacks at 2.2 seconds. That's not as much damage as the sword would be. Okay. Alright, battle time. Dwight Schrute. Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. I love it. Since we're out here gaming, I love it so much when they have the Halloween episode of The Office, and Dwight just shows up as fucking Kerrigan from StarCraft. And he just has that absolutely absurd cosplay thing that he brings in. It looks like it has to have cost thousands of dollars to put together, and then just like nobody cares, nobody gets it. I think that's the one. I can't remember. I know that's the one that I think Meredith's son's in, and I can't remember if he actually bonds with Dwight over the Kerrigan cosplay, or if he just calls him a fucking nerd. I can't remember which one it was, but good stuff. Good stuff. I'm about due for another watch through of The Office. It's been a couple years, so you gotta come in and turn it back on. All right, but how are we getting here? This seems fine. I'm not certain how ham we want to go on this, in the sense that we can get the Falcon longsword like over here to the left, to where it's going to stack up on top of two, right? It's going to hit two dragons, but then we can also load up all of our daggers to the other side of it. It's not certain if we have enough space to pull all of this off. Like we can like, if we stop worrying about this bag, we need 4 slots to the right of the dragon nest. That's going to give us the space to put whatever remaining dragons that we have. Then we want to let's see. We can then take these bags, do something like this. Now we can get double dragons within the fanny packs. Alright, so that has happened. Then get this space happening. We can fit our obsidian dragon in here. Let's see, he fits with just the double bag. Alright, now the idea was that we are going to put our falcon blade here, and then we're going to just try and stack all of our daggers on the other side of that. Seems like it's coming together. I like it, just maximizing what the Falcon Blade can do, right? Hitting both of the dragons off all of the daggers, that looks good. Get our... This is where it's going to start being a problem, is our 9-slot bag. I think we'll eventually probably have to just move it up top. If we want to keep this style of thing, we can... Well, what if we do this? Hang on. This might be the way to go about it, is to just give up on that one slot, right? Then we can give up on 2 points of flame value, flame mana, whatever these things are called, right? At this stage, like, gain 4 maximum health for each fire inside. How much does it realistically matter if we lose out on 8 health, right? We play, say, 5 more rounds. 8 times 5 is 40. I guess 40 is a pretty reasonable amount of health. That would increase by, our health by about 25%. But I think this is probably just the way we need our bags to be looking. Then we're going to fill out the right side over here with other dragons as they turn up. Okay, so it took us a hot minute to get there. I think this is okay. We're not going to be able to load up the stamina potion how we want, but this all looks good so far. Put the little flames out here wherever else they'll fit. The wooden sword, it's just kind of stuck. Is what it is. I'm curious if we shouldn't just go ahead and turn it into a torch. We may. I don't think we've rolled past any whetstones at this point, but fine, we'll keep it there. And our bag is fine otherwise. Okay, let's see how this goes. You think that's a good rearrange? It gets us nice and built up towards the end game. Look at this guy finding more dragons than us. Must be nice. I think we still zinged through him. Oh no, he reincarnated. Shit, he did way bigger than us here. Man, are we not gonna make it to the survival rounds? It's not looking good. We've got ourselves to the last round here, but we're getting crushed in terms of the finale. All right, how can we upgrade? Feels like we're just we're definitely lacking something. The potion belt, and I'm curious if that something just isn't dragons or if we've built this wrong. Maybe I passed up on too much armor and stuff. Can we just immediately activate the Gen lamp? No, we're not going to generate enough mana. We can keep rolling though. We got plenty of stuff to sell. And then here he finally turns up. Welcome, welcome to the end game. The final whetstone is here. If we can get ourselves out of these rounds, that might actually build into something nice. But I don't have my I don't have my beliefs that that's going to be a thing. All right, seems reasonable. What do we got here? Some kind of animal-based ranger. We took out the early lead, but they're starting to kick up a bunch of keywords, a bunch of buffs. I think we'll inch it out right at the end. Uh-oh, shit! We're like a crit away from dying. Fuck! God damn it! You just couldn't get that last little bit of damage in. What a bummer! What a bummer! All right, well, I am going to come in and make this burning sword. We're just never going to get to the crossblades kind of stuff. If it hasn't turned up by this point, it's just never going to get here. Take another fanny pack. I'm going to let the dagger go, I think. It's not bad. Like, we can just continue to stack these and stack these and stack these. Just, we probably need to. Here's my reasoning with the dagger, is that if we get in... Like, look, we need dragons, right? But if we find a dragon and we get into the next round, it's still just going to be, like, stuck. And so I kind of feel like we need to win this round and get that additional dragon on board. And then maybe we can start... maybe then we can start to try and get it in. But I think we need to be... Realistically, what I'm looking to do here is be all in on this one battle and then not play anymore. This comp just has not come together, and so I think that that's the way to go about it. So that's why I've also picked up this Pestilence Flask. Just give us this this opportunity to blast it off right at the very beginning of the battle, and just try to go all in on winning this round. I'll believe in us. This looks like a reincarnate pyro. All right, we zinged him back down. We got there at the end. And so, yeah, I don't feel like this is a comp really worth taking into the end game. It doesn't even feel borderline. I think if we had maybe like a dragon egg on board that was about to hatch before we went into the next round, that might be a thing. But I think that this is definitely a spot to just take the win and not go into survival mode and look for those additional bonuses. Just if we're struggling to win now, like, what do we have that's going to help us upgrade and be high powered going into the later rounds? That's going to be finding more dragons. And we're definitely taking L's until we get another dragon on board. And if we don't find a dragon in the next shop, then we're just kind of completely toasted. And so I think this is the place to stop. And so, yeah, I'm not entirely certain where this build went wrong. If we should have just not gone into dragons because we didn't have one early, right? We didn't have any dragon eggs by the time we hit the subclass, so that just never really came together. Or if I kind of overvalued how much we really needed these flame tokens to have the comp pull off in terms of could we have, say, gone for the reincarnate comp, with all of our daggers and then still been, fairly happy with it. And I think the reincarnate was just off the table. Again, I don't want to play reincarnate unless I've built towards the vampiric stuff. So the idea there is you start at half health, and that just gives you half health to max health to recover, right, with all of your leech, and then you die and you can do the same thing again. And so we didn't have access to that. I didn't want to go holy because it also needs a big stack of flames to work, and so that didn't seem good to me. I just don't like the frost build, although maybe we'll just try and force that in our next video. But the one I think we could have potentially taken that I didn't really give enough credit to is the Flamebringer, the one that the one that has the complete loop around it, the one that the opponent's using right here, right? The friendly fire is to where you use one to gain extra flames, whatever. But I was curious what our flame total actually got to here, and it's kind of tough to tell. He's able to rip off some of our debuffs with something that he has, right? We should definitely have more than 6 heat unless it's been getting... Oh, the heat's going into the daggers. That's where it's going. So yeah, maybe that wouldn't have worked. We were just stuck into dragons as we built this dagger comp. I forgot that you get the on hit, use 1 heat to gain 2 damage. And so our molten daggers were ramping up in the deeps, and so we wouldn't have wanted that scaling friendly fire. And so yeah, I think we were just kind of stuck on dragons here. And so maybe the problem is just my love of daggers. Maybe we went too deep into the daggers and I didn't quite realize it. That could have been a thing. Otherwise, we did pass on a lot of hammers, and maybe we were just a hammer comp and I just didn't give it enough credit. But I think realistically, the idea and the thought process we had here is good, is recognizing that the flames are just going to be gone. And so we can't activate the holy, we can't activate the circle of flames, whatever the fuck it's called. We passed on all of the lifesteal stuff, and so it did just force us into dragons. Now, I am kind of happy with how this came together. Like, I like how the comp looks right here on the screen, to where we have our kind of flame bag almost full of flames. We have the molten daggers lined up with the Wind Reaper, whatever the attack speed sword is called, lined up next to the dragons. It's just we need those extra couple of dragons out here to really help this pop off, and I feel like that's where it was a bit of a miss. And so I'm kind of coin flipping. I know that, like, if I look back on this run, like a month from now, I would be able to say that this was like 10% RNG, 90% we played bad. But at this stage of knowledge, to where I'm lacking knowledge, I have just enough knowledge to hurt myself, that I'm going to call it 50-50. Half of it was just us playing poorly and half of it was RNG. And so that's what the problem was there today. But nonetheless, good game. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. So hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way. You had a good time watching. This is Bustin' Me. Thank you for being here.